Now that it's December, it's time to take down those Halloween decorations and get ready for Christmas. I love this time of year, the food, family, and all of the holiday lights and decorations. String lights are actually really easy to make smart and add them to your Apple Home. Just add a smart plug and now your holiday lights can be included in one of your HomeKit scenes or automations. I've been doing that for years and it's good, but we can do a lot better than that. Just last year, Twinkly added HomeKit support to their popular string lights. Then just last month, Nanoleaf released their own holiday string lights. Another popular option is Govee. They've recently added Matter support to much of their lineup, like their M1 light strip, which is my favorite general purpose light strip. Govee has also released their Permanent Outdoor Lights Pro with Matter, so I'll be testing that out soon. So even though their string lights don't yet support Matter, I wanted to give them a try as well. So before you spend your money on the best available string lights, stick around and let me help make that decision a little easier for you. All three of these string lights that I'll be testing today are indoor and outdoor rated, so the type of lights that you prefer may differ based on where you want them, though I expect that the most common use will be on a Christmas tree. We have 2 trees each here. I have this 7-foot artificial tree in our basement rec room, which we keep a little more casual and add some holiday cheer when we're down here watching Christmas movies. Then in December, we add a larger real tree to our great room, which is where Santa leaves his gifts on Christmas morning. Today, I'll be testing these light strings on my artificial tree, and based on my testing, that'll help me decide which lights to use on our main tree next month. Some of these light strings come in different sizes, but for the purpose of this comparison, they're all around 65 inches. I'll compare prices, scenes, design, and features. Let's start with Nanoleaf, one of my favorite smart home lighting companies. These holiday string lights are a brand new product from them, though I'm sure you're all familiar with Nanoleaf shapes, lines, and panels. Nanoleaf has had a busy year with a lot of new products. We've got a new Matter light bulb and light strip, we've got black hexagons, a 4D light strip, and even more coming soon. I love Nanoleaf, so I was excited to hear that they're releasing holiday string lights. Just one size here, and that is the 20 meter, 250 LED pack, and we get 16 million colors and white temperatures from cool to warm. These ones come in at $120 US. In the box, you get the string lights. They're black cords, and that's the only option you can choose. There are 2 10-meter light strings that are attached to one controller and power supply. Next, let's look at these Govee lights. Obviously, the big issue for HomeKit users is no native support. I was hoping I could use hoops to bring these into HomeKit, but unfortunately, even though there's a certified Govee plugin, these lights aren't yet supported. This comes in a 10 or 20 meter length with 200 LEDs on the 20 meter option. It's listed as RGB IC, with the IC simply meaning that it has addressable zones, but no dedicated white chip, so it's best for those looking mostly for color. These ones from Govee come in at a very reasonable $70 per string. In the Govee box is the light string, which comes on a single reel. The cord is a grayish clear color, but it kind of looks white once it's on the tree. Instead of little LEDs that stick out from the light strip, the LEDs are integrated right into the cord itself. Lastly, probably the best known when it comes to holiday lights, and that's Twinkly. They offer 3 types of lights, so don't buy the wrong ones. They offer a basic RGB multicolor option. If color is all you're after, then this is a less expensive alternative, but don't expect great whites. You can get these for around $87 US. If you only want white, then there's a gold and silver option, which is basically white ambiance, so you can adjust the color temperature. It looks great for those not looking for color, though I don't see these particular lights in stock anywhere in order to give you a price. Then there's the one that I went with, which is the RGB plus W, so color plus warm white, and it comes in at a reasonable $97 US. This one is what I recommend since it gives you the most color and temperature range, though it does lack slightly on the cool white side. Twinkly also offers different lengths up to 600 LEDs, and they offer various cord colors, black, white, and clear, though subject to availability, of course. In the box is the LED string, which I chose the green option. Like Nanoleaf, there are 2 light strings that are attached together to one controller and one power supply. Here's a comparison of the different specs. Feel free to pause the video and take a closer look. Okay, it's time to see these lights in action. I'm starting with my Nanoleaf lights, which I originally had installed on my front porch for Halloween. I'll get another set of string lights so I can put more outside, but for now, I brought these inside to see how they look on my Christmas tree. I'm not a fan of the split strings with the power cable in the middle, but it seems to be pretty standard. I used the first half and started at the top, doing my best to evenly wrap around the tree, then continued on with the second string. I wish there was an option for a green cord that would be less noticeable than black, but in general, it's not something that I noticed once it was all set up. I plugged it in and right away it looked great. The whites look nice from cool to warm, and the colors are bright and rich. Nanoleaf has a bunch of pre-built scenes like a candy cane, icicle, and reindeer games, just to name a few. And if you don't want to use one of the pre-built scenes, then you can always go to the Discover tab on the Nanoleaf app and find tons more scenes. In terms of coverage, one string's okay on the 7-foot tree, but it's not enough in my opinion. I know it's expensive to add a second string, but at this point, you've already spent $120, so you may as well make this tree look epic. It would be nice to see a 500 or even 750 light option in the future. Personally, I like to have lots of lights, so I'd recommend doubling or even tripling the number of lights, especially if you're hanging these on a larger tree like 8 or 9 feet. You can't connect multiple strings together, but you can group them together and activate a single scene. It's definitely not quite as nice as being able to map each of your LEDs, which I'll talk about more when I show you Twinkly, but it's probably something that not many people will care too much about. If you have other Nanoleaf products, then you can also sync your lights with those products as well, like my Nanoleaf lines that are installed directly behind this tree. It definitely adds another dimension to your holiday lighting. With Nanoleaf, I also like that I can bring my scenes into HomeKit. So not only can I control the brightness and color in the Home app, but I can also activate dynamic Nanoleaf effects and even include other HomeKit products into those scenes. I'm impressed with these lights. So the pros, great whites and colors, it syncs with other Nanoleaf products, and effects can be used in Apple Home. Cons, the cord only comes in black, you can't connect multiple strings of lights, and they're a little bit more pricey. Okay, it's time to check out those Govee lights. First off, I really like that it's a continuous string. This makes it much easier to hang on the tree. I simply started at the bottom and worked my way up. The downside here is the string looks super obvious. It doesn't look bad, kind of reminds me of popcorn garlands strung around the tree, but it definitely doesn't blend as much as the others. As mentioned, HomeKit isn't supported, so you are limited to the Govee app, or you could use Google or Alexa. Hopefully that Homebridge plugin is updated soon. Regardless, to get the full effect, you'll want to use them in the Govee app, where just like Nanoleaf, you get a ton of scenes to choose from. Starting with the basics though, you can see that warm white looks more like yellow than white, and the cool white looks more like blue. But if it's color that you're after, then you won't be disappointed. The colors look great and look awesome in scenes like Christmas, Christmas tree, and Christmas gift. Again, I recommend going all in and picking up a second cord, and since there's a 10-meter option, then you have a little bit more flexibility there. They can't be connected together, but you could group them together and activate your favorite scene. The major pro here is the cost at only $72. The colors look great, and Govee does a great job with their pre-built scenes. I also like the single LED string, but be aware of the white cord, no native HomeKit support, and not the best whites. Govee's been getting into matter recently, and I would love to see a future matter version with at least a warm white chip added, and an option for a green or even black cord. And last but not least, let's get these twinkly lights on the tree. Just like Nanoleaf, they come in 2 separate strings attached to one power supply. Not ideal, but it's manageable. I took the same approach as with the Nanoleaf strings, starting 1 string at the top, and then when I got to the end, I just continued with the second string. I added my lights using the Twinkly app, which was simple, and I was asked to download a firmware update. Once you've added your Twinkly lights, you'll be asked to map these lights, which is unlike the other 2 light strings in this comparison. Basically, Twinkly lights up various sections and it records where each light is. This is helpful for 2 reasons. First, it knows where each light is regardless of how you hung up your lights. This will ensure your effects are played perfectly. And secondly, if you have more than 1 set of string lights, then it can account for all of your lights and their placement on the tree, which again helps when playing those effects. This is a significant differentiator, especially if you're planning to add multiple strings, which once again, I recommend if possible. To be clear, you aren't physically connecting each string, they still all need their individual power supply. Just like with Nanoleaf and Govee, there's lots of effects to choose from in the Twinkly app, and since Twinkly knows where each of your lights are, the effects are extra nice in my opinion, especially when activating a horizontal or vertical scene. Though there's HomeKit support, there isn't an option to sync your scenes into HomeKit like there is with Nanoleaf. This means you can control the brightness, color, and power in Apple Home, but scenes need to be activated or scheduled in the Twinkly app. If you have other Twinkly products like dots or flecks in the same room, then you could also group those lights together and create some really cool scenes. So the pros with Twinkly: great colors, great whites as long as you choose that RGB+W version. You get various cord color options, native HomeKit support, and you can group multiple strings together for some pretty amazing effects. The biggest downside is not being able to bring those scenes into Apple Home. One last thing I want to mention is Music Sync. This is a fun add-on, but honestly something I rarely use as it tends to be a little distracting. All three of these lights are compatible with Music Sync. Govee and Nanoleaf have built-in microphones on their controller, and in the case of Twinkly, it uses the phone microphone instead of a pre-built microphone. Now Twinkly does offer Twinkly Music, a $30 USB dongle that allows you to sync your music. If music's important to you and you choose Twinkly, then get the dongle. So which one should you buy? Well, as always, it's a personal decision. Ecosystem's important though. If you have a lot of Govee products, then Govee may be the way to go, and same goes with Nanoleaf or Twinkly. Here's a quick side-by-side of each of these light strings. The video really doesn't do these justice. They look even better in person. Nanoleaf and Twinkly hit the best warm whites, and Nanoleaf was clearly the winner when it came to cool white. Looking at the colors, they all looked great, though Govee was clearly the brightest of the three despite 50 less LEDs. I sincerely think all of these light strings are great in different ways, but if you can't tell, my favorite has to be Twinkly. I really like the green cord, especially if it's on a Christmas tree. And the biggest factor for me is the ability to combine multiple strings together. I tested on a Christmas tree though, so depending on your application, it may be different. I think all three options are great, and trust me, I'll have no problem finding a spot for each of them in my home during Christmas. But what's going on my Fraser fur in December? It's got to be Twinkly. Christmas time is the best time when it comes to showing off Christmas lights and HomeKit automations, and I'm hoping to release a more in-depth video showcasing some of that later this year, including how these lights turn out on my real tree next month. Also, you can follow me on Instagram for updates. Links to each of these light strings will be in the description. Tell me your favorite and why. Is there anything that I said that you disagree with? I hope this video helped to give you a little bit more information on each of these string lights. No bad options, it's just about what's right for you. Also, if you don't have the extra money right now, then use your existing lights and add a HomeKit smart plug. I've included some of my favorites that are actually reliable in the description. Also, if 3 sets of string lights is ideal, then just get one and add another one next year and so on. Happy decorating, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.